A business that needs you every day isn't an asset, it's a job. If it only works when you're in the room, you didn't build a business, you built a cage. So I remember one time when we had first started our company, we had just started building, right, the business so that it would, we had just started building the business. This was before we started adding personnel and all that stuff. And I remember I got sick. I got sick for a couple of days and I was completely out. I was down. I had I think it was the flu or something of that nature. It was terrible. I just know I was in bed for 2 days, completely out. And I remember thinking, what is going to happen with the leads that are coming in that I'm paying money to get? What's going to happen with the work that needs to get done? What's going to happen with the title transfers? And I was just like in overwhelm. And not only was I in overwhelm, but I was laying down immobile for like 2 days. It took like 2 or 3 days. I came back and I had to play catch up, and some of you may know exactly what I'm talking about. I had to play catch up with all the stuff that still needed to get done.
Recording in progress.
I had to play catch up with the stuff that still needed to get done. I came back and I was like, man, and I had fallen behind and there was a lot of things that needed to get done and they weren't getting done because I wasn't there. And it was a pain in the neck coming back because there was a lot of stuff that needed, and it got done, right? Because that's what we do. We get stuff done. And so I came back, and that, for me, that was a wake-up call. And I said, man, if I can't get sick, like it started to dawn on me about, I can't get sick, dude. I can't take a day off. I can't go on vacation. I can't do it. And I realized at the beginning that I was in that stage of building what we were building. But still, that realization right there made me go, wait a minute, I've got to do something different, because I don't want to build something that requires for me to be there all of the time. I want to build something. I want to build a machine that can run without me. So that's when I started to click that I need to put some systems into place, man, because this is not a healthy path to continue down. And I could see the future, right? If I continue to do this, it's not going to be healthy for me. It's not going to be healthy for my family. I've got 4 young kids. I've got my wife who needs my attention. I've got my kids that I want to give my attention to, who need my attention. So I knew in that moment, I've got to build something that runs without me. And I had no idea what to do, right? No idea how to do that. But I knew in that moment that there was something that I had to do. So you don't own a business until it can run without you in it. That is the truth. You don't own a business until it can run without you in it. Everything this month that I've been going over, speed, follow-up, the close, it's worthless if all of it runs through you. A system that depends on you is not a system. It's a job, right? And a lot of us at the beginning, we've got a job, and we've got a lot of jobs that we have in our company, right? But this week, we're going to talk about making it run without you, because that is the jump from operator to owner. Now you own something. Now you own a machine that can run when you're not present. And the systems, hopefully the systems that you've built and the processes that are repeatable, that are built in that system, can now run even if you're not there. That's the goal, right? If it lives in your head, it's going to die with your attention. Anything that only you know how to do is a bottleneck, and it is a single point of failure. The stuff that you just know how to do is exactly what nobody else can. People fall to the level of their training, right? So the question becomes, have you trained your people? Do you have people that you can train to do the thing that only you know how to do, right? No, only I can do it. That's not true. Somebody else can take care of the tasks there are some things, don't get me wrong, that only you can do, but there are so many other things that can be delegated, that can be handed off to people. And I remember hearing this from John Maxwell, and something clicked when he said it. If you can find somebody who can do it 80% as good as you, then hand it off. You need to hand it off so that you can focus on the things that you need to do so that you can grow the company, the business that you're running, right? So write the process down. Let it be a checklist. We've got checklists in our company, not a novel, because nobody's going to read that. It's the truth. If it's not written down, it can't be handed off. So if you don't have like a standard operating procedure, a certain way that you do things, then it's going to be impossible to hand off to somebody and say, here, this is how we do it. This is how we handle this specific thing. And this is how I want you to do it every time. Standard operating procedures. So one of the things that we used to do is, that I used to do is I would handle the title transfer of the mobile homes that and that's cool when you're doing like 1, 2, 3. When you start doing more than that, I think in 1 year we did close to 40, and I was handling all of the title transfer. And needless to say, they were not all being transferred in a timely manner because I was the bottleneck, right? I was like, oh, dude, I didn't do this one. Oh, man, I forgot to do this one. Oh, I got to get the paperwork handed in. Because the state of Texas handles the title paperwork for the most part for manufactured homes in Texas. And so I had to make sure that all of the documents we had to source from individuals, we had to source documents from people and send them up. And it became an absolute mess because I thought that, well, I got to handle that part. Thank God that eventually I said, you know what? I need to hand this off to somebody, and I got to show them how this is done so that they can take care of it every single time. And so thank God for people that are smarter than me. I remember reading a book and I was like, okay, this makes sense. It said to hire an assistant. So I did. We hired an administrative assistant. And thank God for admin, because they take care of title transfer. Shout out to our admin today. He does an amazing job making sure that all of the paperwork that's needed to get the title from one party to the next, phenomenally, right? I no longer have to worry about that or getting that done, because if I did have to worry about getting that done, it would not be pretty. And so we created a system, and this is what happens when we have to transfer title. This is the paperwork needed. This is the process. This is the same thing that gets done over and over. And then we handed it off, boom. And now it's out of my hands, thank God. You can't delegate what you never wrote down, right? And that's big. You cannot delegate what you never wrote down. If you don't have a written process for the way that you do things, or a checklist that needs to be checked off every single time, this thing has to be done, this thing has to be done, and make it simple and clear for people to understand, you are going to experience pain. And that pain will often look like you being too busy to do anything else, or too busy to hang out, or too busy. You're going to create a lot of stress for yourself, unneeded stress. So I'm going to say it again. You can't delegate what you do not write down. So write it down. Next thing is you can systemize the catch and follow and the follow-up. Excuse me. Your systems should work harder than you do. Your systems should work harder than you do. The lead capture, the routing, the follow-up cadence, all of it should fire on its own. It's not easy, but it's possible. And the more you do this, it's going to make, not only is it going to make you look better, but it's going to make your life easier. And that's, for me, that was the goal. I got to make my life easier. This is too much trying to get to everybody. For us, it was, I had to get to sellers, and I also had to source buyers. And I was doing it and I had to handle title, and everything became so overwhelming. So the lead capture, the routing, the follow-up cadence, all of it should fire on its own. And now, thank God, it does fire on its own. So you build it once so it runs whether you're awake, you're asleep, you're inspired, or you're exhausted. No matter how you feel, the thing is running. So a trained assistant plus automation handles the first response and the follow-through, not you. Somebody is touching that lead. We talked about this before. Within 5 minutes is what the MIT study shows. and you are 21 times more likely to close that business if you hit them within the first 5 minutes. I talked about this before. That catch and follow-up sequence no longer really rests on my shoulders, which is great, because we're able to get to a lot more people now because it doesn't. So we hit them twice before someone's gotten on the phone with them. We hit them with a call. We hit them with an email and with a text, and those are automated. And then they get a call from us within 5 minutes. So they've already heard. By the time they get on the phone, this is the third time we're talking to them, right, or communicating with them, if you will. And so important for you to automate that, make that run on its own, make your life easier. And the goal is that nothing depends on you remembering, right? Because if your day is anything like my day and you're an operator already, you know exactly how it feels when somebody tells you something. I'm like, listen, you got to send me an email. Please don't send it in a text, because you're going to be buried at the bottom by the time a couple hours go by, you're buried at the bottom. And it's not that I'm ignoring you. If it relies on me remembering or you remembering, that's going to create problems for you as well. So again, the goal is nothing should depend on you remembering. It should just fire. And so if you build it once and it runs whether you feel like it or not, right? That's the goal. You build it once and it runs whether you feel like it or not. So building these kinds of systems is the first thing I do with operators that I coach one-on-one, and it's where everything else starts. It's making your life easier. That is the goal, right? And so the next thing is the daily rhythm that keeps it honest. And systems don't fail loudly. They drift quietly. Systems do not fail loudly. They drift quietly. So systems drift if nobody's checking the gauges, right? It's just like your car, right? Your car, you don't check your gas gauge, you don't check your oil gauge. If you don't check whether the car is overheating or not, right? If you're not checking the temperature gauge on the car, and if you're not checking the temperature gauge, it's easy for you to overheat. That'll preach. If you're not putting gas in your car, you're going to run out of gas. That'll preach as well. And then if you're not checking, if you've got oil, you can mess up the machinery. Everything will start grinding together in a way that it shouldn't. Nothing will run smoothly. Come on. You've got to make sure that you're checking the gauges, even on the systems that are already built. So like I've got a war room that I do every morning, 7 a.m. I'm looking at the report that gets generated to see where our leads are at, what the statuses are at, what's moving through the pipeline, what's getting worked, what's not getting worked, what jobs aren't. There's just a massive report that I get, right? And I look at that in the morning, and because of that, I'm able to catch things I'm able to catch them early, because they're from the day before. And so I've got something built that automatically checks all of our tech stack, all of my emails, everything, and lets me know what are pending action items that I need to take action on, or what are gauges, right? I'm checking the gauges. I'm looking to see, do we have enough people in the pipeline? Where are things not closing? There's a whole bunch of things that I'm looking at on that report to make sure that things are continuing to move forward, right? So I'm checking gauges. So the rule is that no item in the pipeline for us is without a status, right? Nothing sits in the dark. Everything has a status on it. We know exactly where it is in the pipeline, especially if it's a sale, right? We want to know if somebody's walked a home, if somebody's made an offer on a home. Are we dealing with a qualified buyer? Do we know if they are qualified for financing? Do we know if they're qualified for, do they have cash in their hand ready to buy? We mark them as a hot lead, right? And all of these things are identifiers that we use to run the reports that then give me the statuses. If we haven't followed up with somebody the next day, people are getting pinged. All of these things are systems that are built in, again, to make your life easier. And we recently had some hot leads that came in, and one of our salespeople went on vacation, and we had some hot leads that had not been touched. And the report that we run automatically, the gauges, right? I'm checking them daily in the morning. I see the report and it says we got 3 or 4 hot leads that we got to hit up because they've got cash in their hands. They're ready to purchase. They've already walked a home. We just haven't converted them. So I'm like, I tell our sales team, hey, we got to call these people. Let's hit them up. It's this person, this person, this person. Boom. All of that is because of these little gauges, these systems that I put into place so that we can be aware of where everything is. And so nothing falls through the cracks, man. That's the last thing you want to do, is for leads to fall through the cracks, because those are conversions that didn't happen. That means there's sales that are not generating any revenue for your company. Not a good thing, right? So no pipeline item ever is without a status, right? Is ever empty of a status. No pipeline item without a status ever. That is the goal. That is what we have in place at our company, right? You need to build it in. Next thing is, you want to be the last to touch it, not the first. The owner should be the last person to touch a lead, not the first one to touch a lead, right? If somebody needs a tag team on a close, or they need to be touched for a specific reason, you should be the last one to do that. You should have things in place where people or automations are touching those all the way through the pipeline, right? If it needs your attention, something is in high alert status, right? Or red status. Hey, we got to contact these people. This is what's going on. Then you may need to come out and put a fire out, right? But you don't want to be the first one that touches it. Because here's what happens. If every lead runs through you, you are the ceiling on your own growth, right? And that, for me, was the case for a long time. I was the ceiling on my own growth. All of the leads were coming through me. And so I genuinely could not get to all of the buyer leads and the seller leads and all of the things that we had to get. I couldn't do all of the things that needed to be done in order to convert those. And so what did we do? We brought people in who could focus on those things specifically, so that I'm not the first one to touch them. I don't touch them unless there's a tag team that's needed. They need my help. Then I'm coming in. But the majority of the time, I'm not touching the leads within the first parts of the sales process. So you build the role, you write the script, and you hand off the catch, right? That's the best thing that you can do, especially for those initial. Some friends that I have said that they have AI that's the setter, right? Or controls the catch. They bring them in, they get the data entry, they put it on their CRM, and now they're ready to hand it off to a closer, right? But you've got to trust whatever it is that you have in place. You've got to trust the system to run it so that it doesn't all have to go through you, right? You will start to scale the day you stop being the bottleneck, right? The moment that you stop being the bottleneck, you'll start to scale. And I realized this when I hired our project manager, right? I used to be the one. This is one of the things that I thought that only I could do, right? Or in that moment, right? And then I had a friend who came along and slapped me upside the head and said, hey, it would probably be a good idea if you got somebody to handle that piece, because it's taking up a lot of your time. And I'm grateful for friends like that, right? Who will tell you the truth, man. So shout out to my boy, Manny. And he told me, listen, probably be a good idea for you to do that. I said, you know what, you're right. And so I brought somebody on, and he did a phenomenal job handling our project. He's done a phenomenal job handling our projects. Shout out to him. Freed up so much of my time. He's in his sweet spot. He's doing the thing that he's really good at. And honestly, he's better at it than I am. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is I thought that I was the only one who could do that. So I was the bottleneck there, man. And once I was able to free that roll up and hand it off those responsibilities to him, he's done an amazing job with it. It created a revenue stream that I didn't think was there. That wasn't the purpose, right? I created it just to make sure that our projects were being handled. Then we ended up hiring guys that came on, and we were able to generate revenue from that arm of the business, that division of the business, which was really cool. So I thought I was the only one who could do it. Brought him in, boom, broke that bottleneck, handed that off to somebody, and they did more with it than I could have done with it on my own, right? So phenomenal thing that happens when you remove yourself as the bottleneck. So you are the ceiling on everything that runs through you. You are the ceiling on everything that runs through you. The last thing I want to talk to you about is freedom is the real product. And this one's really cool, right? In our company, we say we're not in business to make money, we're in it to make meaning. And that's the honest truth. For me, it's not about money. It stopped being about money. For me, it's about impact. I genuinely want to leave the world a better place than I found it. And I want to change people's lives, people that work with us in our company. If you're going to be wildly successful, bring other people with you. I love that quote. And it's so true. And it resonates with me so much because I do want other people in our company to be wildly successful. And money is not the goal, it's a tool, right? And so for us, living meaningful lives and doing things that are meaningful, right? The impact that we have on the families that we help get into the homes that they do, the impact that we have on the families that sell their homes because they want to move on to the next chapter of their lives. That's what really juices me. Watching our salespeople make good commissions, that juices me. Watching other people succeed as a result of what God has put into our hands to steward, that is what juices me, man. And so the reason to build a machine is not more money. It's more time and it's more meaning. A business that runs without you gives you your life back, family, faith, the next build. This is the shift from operator to owner. Everything this month was to buy your freedom, not just your revenue, everything that I've talked about. I remember the first time that I realized this, I told my wife, I said, I'm really nervous because I was going to go to Business Mastery with Tony Robbins in Palm Beach. And Lord willing, I'll be out there in a couple of weeks. But I was really nervous because I didn't know how things were going. I thought things were going to fall apart, if I'm honest. When I left, I was like, man, if I'm not here, things are going to fall apart. And I had already put a lot of these things into place, right? And I'm always refining and making things better. But for the most part, we had things moving. And I left, and I remember the day, I think it was like day 2, and our team calls me and they're like, hey, we got a home that we just acquired, this and that. And I found that somebody had found a buyer. And then our sales team had found a buyer almost immediately. And I remember thinking, oh man, like that's insane. Like I had walked out. I remember where I was, dude. I was at the convention center in Palm Beach, and I walked out and I was on the phone, and I remember just thinking, whoa. It was like an aha moment, like, man, this thing ran without me, and my team took care of everything while I was out. And for me, that really, really opened up my eyes to what's possible if you are a good steward of what God puts into your hand and you're able to build systems and processes. And the beautiful thing about going and learning from Tony Robbins was that I paid a lot of money to go there, trust me. But it helped me to get around people that are smarter than me, better than me, richer than me. And all of these things that I'm telling you about are things that I've learned from people that are smarter than me, better than me, richer than me, and have way more time than me because they built a machine that runs when they're not there. That is the whole why behind it, man. It's to build a machine that runs when you're not there, but to help your team and the people that work with you and the families that you help or whoever it is that your clientele is, to make a difference in their lives. So building it to run without you is not stepping back, it's stepping up. Again, building it to run without you is not stepping back, it's stepping up. It's leadership. It's showing that you've raised up other leaders in your company to do the things that you thought at some point in time that only you could do. And that's a beautiful thing, man. So let me recap really quick so I can wrap this thing up. I think I ran a little long. The 5 things that we talked about, write it down, systemize the catch and follow up, a daily rhythm, keeps it honest, be the last one to touch it. Freedom is the point. And this whole past month topic was the lead to close machine. So stop running your business, start building one that runs itself. Stop running your business and start building one that runs itself. This is exactly what I do with operators one-on-one. We build this together, right? It's $5,000 to work with me directly. And I only take a small group. I'm only work with about 3 or 4 people at any given time. And it's for operators who are serious about building a business that runs without them. If that's you, DM me the word operator and let's talk. And if it's not, totally get it. We'll see you on the next live next Thursday at noon.